So it looks like houses like this pop up, which quite frankly, I don't think this could even get financed. Yeah, this is not even, I don't think you can even live in it. So you or your partner may be at the point where you're approximately making about $50,000 annually. This is a huge accomplishment and you should be proud of yourself. But right now in today's society, with housing being so expensive, is it enough to actually afford or rent a decent place? Well, in today's video, we're going to break down the numbers and see what kind of a monthly payment can you afford to pay for either rent or home ownership to see if it's even feasible to buy. And of course, we're going to look at some areas, specifically around my area, to see what kind of house we would be able to rent or buy, or maybe what kind of a condo or apartment, whatever we could find, to see what it would be our living situations with this kind of income. Now, this number is important to me, not just because $50,000 is around the range of what a lot of online articles say the average income is for most folks. You know, obviously we have people with the higher degrees make a little more. Some college no degree, you're making about 47. If you have an associate's degree, you're making about 52. So 50,000 is that range. But more importantly, why this number is important to me is because I grew up in not the best part of town here in Phoenix. I was raised by my mom. It was just me and her. We were in a one-bedroom apartment, and things were tough. I remember some of my favorite meals that, I mean, I'd look at this not with shame, but with pride. She would go and get me a $1 bag of like frozen fries. She would buy like a cheap little like steak, just like one of those like, you know, those $3 or $4 steaks you buy at Walmart. And then she would grill it on the pan. She would grill the piece of meat, like obviously cook the fries, and then give me a flour tortilla. And that would be some of like my meal growing up. Is I would get that. I would make like a burrito with the fries and the meat. And you know, looking at me talking about it now, it's kind of silly, but those are the kind of meals that she would have to improvise just to get by. And I'll never forget when she would tell me, Javy, she used to call me Javy, as long as you make $1,000 every week, I think you've made it. We would talk about like what I want to do with my life or what would I want to do after high school. And that always stuck with me. That was an obtainable goal that I wanted to get, but B, it just kind of showed me where her like limits were and what her threshold or her glass ceiling was. And I always remember that fondly. And funny enough, if you get $1,000 and you multiply it by 52, which would be 52 weeks in a year, it's approximately about $52,000. So in honor of my mom and in honor of all of you guys here today, let's figure out what kind of house, what kind of place you'd be able to afford, and what solutions we have, right? So first and foremost, let's break down budget. So let's start off with $50,000. If you get paid $50,000 annually, there's approximately 13 checks that you're going to get in that year. The reason why is because there's approximately 26 paychecks if you get paid bi-weekly, which most folks are. So what we're going to do is we're going to get 50,000 and we're going to divide it by 13 to get an idea of our monthly income. And that monthly income ends up being about $3,846. So we're gonna put about $3,900 just to give us a nice round number. So now what can we afford with this monthly income? Well, first and foremost, as you guys know, if you are approximately making $3,900 gross, that doesn't mean you're going to actually take home $3,900. A lot of takes, you're only bringing home about 75 to 80% of this check. So if we get $3,900 and we take out 20% of that, we're left with about $3,100 around, $3,120 to be exact. So really, when we're looking at budgeting, we shouldn't be using our gross income because our gross income it's great to show people, but it's not what's actually being brought to the table. What's being brought to the table is $3,100. So how much of this can we actually allocate towards your actual payment? Well, there's a lot of schools of thought. And in this video, we're going to specifically preach the ones based off your net income, because if you're basing it off your gross income, you're living in la la land. Because it is my personal belief, and I believe everyone should inherit this, you should base your budget off what you're actually bringing home, not what you're being told on paper you're making. So there's several schools of thoughts here. We're at 3,120. If you're a little more conservative, a lot of the conservative finance folks preach this, you would be considered house poor if your payment, your rent or your mortgage payment exceeds over 25% of this. So in this case, 3,120, your payment could not exceed $780. You might be scoffing because that's pretty insane, especially nowadays, but that's the general gist. So instead, What I like to tell folks is, and this is what I've lived by my entire life, you don't have to go through it. You can adjust it. Maybe you want to adjust a few points off, whatever you want to do. I've always lived saying, hey, as long as my monthly payment is a third of my income, I can probably manage the rest of my bills with the second third, and I can save the third, right? So that's just how I lived. You can take that, you can adjust it however you want. But a third of 3120 would be approximately 1,029. With 60 cents. Those 60 cents are very important. Let's not forget about them. So basically $1,029, or let's just say $1,030 is going to be what your monthly payment should not exceed, so that way you can afford where you live. This leaves you approximately with $2,090 to pay the rest of your bills. Is it doable? Well, I mean, I'll be honest, it's pretty tough. Let's say on average, utilities, you're paying, I don't know, we'll do some quick math here. You're paying water bills like $100. Let's say your power bill is like $200. You're paying $100 for your cell phone bill, maybe another $100 for internet. And let's say you're spending about $300 of groceries. You're left with about $1,290. Now, once again, these are just off the top of my head. You could be either scoffing or agreeing with the numbers I'm saying. Please feel free to adjust. We're just here to get an idea. That leaves us about $1,290 to either save or to live your life comfortably. Can you pay your debts with this? Can you pay your car payment? Can you pay your Starbucks runs, your auto, pocket runs? Can you save money with this? Well, it's a little on the tight end, right? But technically it is doable, very difficult, but doable. But either way, your monthly payment should not exceed $1,030 to live comfortably. So obviously the general question of the video is, what can you afford with a $50,000 annual income? So what we're going to use for as an example is we're going to use my local area of Phoenix, Arizona. It's a pretty popular area and it's pretty expensive. It's gotten really expensive over the last few years, so it may vary from yours, but I wanted to show you what I'm going to do here locally so that way you can apply it to your situation. For the mortgage aspect, it's going to be a little more complicated. What we're going to do is we're going to find a house and we're going to reverse engineer what that monthly payment would look like for that house and see if that monthly payment works. And if it doesn't, then we're going to kind of adjust the price until we find something that works. We're actually going to use the MLS. I am a licensed real estate agent, so I do have access to it, but you can use any main website to get this information. So we have currently 6,700 rentals in the market, active and coming soon. So let's see, just in general, what is under 1,100. Okay, we have 69 options. I promise you that was not intentional, but that's amazing. 69 options. So approximately 6 of them are single family detached homes, but as you notice, they all disappeared here in the central Phoenix area. There's one in Glendale, but where did all the other houses go? Seriously, where did they go? I don't see them. Let's look in the list and see if we can find them. Douglas, Arizona, Globe, Sierra Vista. I believe that's going to be more. Yeah, it's not even in Phoenix anymore. We're south of Tucson. Douglas, we're literally on the border of Mexico. Globe, we're Tucson. Sierra Vista, Tucson. Yeah, so essentially you could rent a place under $1,100 in Phoenix as long as you're not in Phoenix. As long as you're almost in Mexico, then you can get a place. So there is one place in Glendale though that is a small home. So essentially this means it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It's a remodeled studio, which if you look at the photos, not too bad. Looks like a little small studio, but it doesn't even look like it's part of the main house. It looks like it's like this is the main house and the studio's back here. So I don't even know if they're allowed to do that. So I might even report them, but I ain't no snitch. That's right. Didn't I just say I was raised not the best part of town? And one thing I learned is not to be a snitch. Anyway, so it seems like single family properties are not doable. So if I want to live within my means, without my budget, with a $50,000 income in Phoenix, Arizona, it's not doable for a house, for a rental at least. So I'd have to rent a condo or townhouse. So let's see how that works. So we do have plenty of options for a condo and townhouse. $750, 1-bedroom, 1-bath. We're looking specifically in Phoenix. We're not going to Sierra Vista or anything like that. 0-bedroom, 1-bath. How does that even work? How are you 0 bedrooms? Oh, because there's no bedroom. It's just a studio. So you would have to live in a studio kind of house or apartment setup. This one at least has 1 bedroom, but I'm pretty sure they probably just labeled it wrong. Okay, yeah, this one does have, no, it doesn't have a bedroom. And actually, it's not even the actual house, it's the back of the house. So it seems like if you want to be under $1,000, you're not even getting a house, you're getting a studio, you're getting the storage shed of somebody. Or you get an apartment, a small apartment here in the central Phoenix area, downtown Phoenix area. Like this place looks pretty cute. 1095 and it works. Let's see what the area. I mean, yeah, you're in Roosevelt, which I know this is like a downtown area, but to kind of give you guys an idea of crime rate, what we can do is found a crime map here in the city of Phoenix PD. All right, so that's pretty self-explanatory. So we're looking, let's look at a comparison of the houses that are for rent under 1,100. We see this is the central Phoenix, midtown Phoenix area. We get some spots here throughout. Here we see that the majority of the crimes are happening in the midtown central Phoenix. So essentially you would be putting yourself in a situation where there'd be a higher crime rate. Here's the thing, there's crime everywhere that happens. I'm not going to be dumb and just say, oh, it's bad place to live. You just have to be aware. You have to be familiar with your surroundings, and you have to be more perceptive of what you're doing, what you're leaving out, what you're locking. So you're going to definitely bring a little more anxiety to your life living in these areas. So is it possible? Yes, but these are the kind of places you would be renting either a studio in the back of a house, or you're going to do an apartment or some kind of small condo or townhouse in a very urban area of the major city. Now, once again, we're talking specifically city of Phoenix. You can go look in your area, look under $1,100, and anything that satisfies that will be basically doable. Now, when it comes to actually looking what you can afford house-wise, this one's a little different. First and foremost, let's determine what you can actually qualify for if you are looking to buy. So if you are making I think we said 3,900, okay? So you have to make sure you know the difference between what you qualify for and what you can actually afford. So what a mortgage officer will do to figure out what you qualify for is use your monthly gross income, not what you're bringing home, what you're on paper making a month. $3,900 is what we found it is. And they're going to get 50% of that. So like depending on the type of loan, some are 45%, but most of the time 50% is the max they can go. So in this case, 3,900 multiplied by 50 or get half of it, and that gets 1,950. So that's going to be what you qualify for. Now here's the thing. From here, they're going to subtract any minimum monthly payments you have. So if you have 2 credit card payments, and let's say they're like, I don't know, $800 balance each, well, what they're going to do is they're going to look at the minimum payment on your statement. So if your minimum payment's like $30, $25, they both are $30, let's say, then they're only going to take out $60 from $1,950. They're not going to put what you usually pay. They're not going to get a percentage of what the debts are. They're going to get what your minimum payment is, which can be very dangerous because you can have multiple credit cards at high balances, but your minimum payments might be just a tiny like $40 payment. And you can potentially get yourself in a situation where you're buying a place and you have all this massive debt that you still have, right? But anyways, $1,950. So let's say you have 2 credit cards that's $30 each. Let's say you have a car payment for, $300. So we subtract $360 from it. So that means you would qualify for about $1,590. Now, if you don't have any debt, then they would qualify you for $1,950. So let's just get that range there. You should afford $1,100. If you have, let's say, about $400 of minimum payment debt, you're going to qualify for about $1,590. Or if you have no debt, you're going to qualify for $1,950. Let's have that range in mind as we start doing some research. So in this example, I'm going to actually use Zillow because a lot of people use Zillow. And that's just what we're gonna do. Say, Javier, okay, I want to live in Chandler, Gilbert. Okay, great, man. Let's see if we can find something relatively cheap. Let's go under, I don't know, 400,000. Not too many options, but hey, we found something. I don't know, maybe not Chandler. Let's do like over here. Okay, found this one in Phoenix, 393. Let's just get an idea of what the monthly payment will look like. We could use Zillow and say, oh, okay, it says 2,400, but let's learn how to do this on our own. So there's a lot of free mortgage calculators online. There's a lot of content creators that have mortgage calculators like myself. We don't need to do all that. We could literally just use the ones that are here provided. We don't need to break, like if you're looking to break down the amortization and the rates and all that, these calculators are great. Like the one I have is amazing at that. You can break down what you're paying in interest over 30 years, compare mortgages. That's great. But for now, we're just getting a good solid idea of what that looks like. So we're not doing 20% down. Let's say we're doing 5% down. Let's say we're interest rate are 6.5, which is a little on the nicer end. Mortgage insurance is on the higher side. I don't think it would be 236 unless you're going FHA. So let's just leave it high for now. Let's look at the tax rate they're giving us. $1,800 is what they're calculating here. But if you look here, it does tell us it's $2,170. So I don't know. I feel like let's just adjust that slightly so we can get to that 2,000 range. So it'll be like what, 0.54? Yeah, around there, 2,100. Home insurance, a little on the higher end. I think it'd be closer to 1,300 a year. HOA fees are 150 bucks. So that gives us a monthly payment about $3,000. So off the bat, I can tell you, hey man, 400,000. What are you doing? So then you're like, okay, crap. Let's look under 300,000 to see if that's doable. You're not looking there anymore. So now we're like, okay, where can I look? All right, well, there's Mary's here for 300,000. Let's do that. Scroll down, scroll down. Taxes are 1512. We're gonna get an idea of that. Let's do 5% down. Mortgage insurance is 180. Once again, that feels too high, but we'll leave it. Taxes are, what was it? Did I say it was 1512? They're calculating a 1410 here, so let's just adjust it so we can be closer to 1500. Okay, 51% is about there. Home insurance, that's about right. HOA is $48. Okay, great. What does that monthly payment look like? $2,200. So we're getting up there. So maybe with a PMI not so high, maybe it works. But still, that's $299. It doesn't look like it's feasible. We're getting closer to that. If we go back to that range where we had it, we're more to the higher end of what we would qualify for if we had no debt. So really we need to be like under 299. So we need to probably go like under, like around maybe the 250 range, I'm assuming. So let's see what pops up at under 250. Sun City we're avoiding because we're not retirement. It's a retirement community and that's it. This is what you're looking at, single family properties. We get one house in South Phoenix. We have a lot of new builds, but the new builds, the problem is they start them at $0 plus. So it's like, I don't know why they do that. That's why they're popping up here. So we have some houses in older parts of town that might work. So it looks like houses like this pop up, which quite frankly, I don't think this could even get financed. Yeah, this is not even, I don't think you can even live in it. But that's 225. Here's another one for 185. And that I can see some water damage there. That's not good. It's completely boarded up. Like this one seems like it's habitable. 215. I don't think it's a single family though. It's a patio home. We look at the monthly payment, play around with that for a bit. The taxes are $468, which are cheaper. So make sure that goes down to like probably 0.335, I'm assuming. That's even less. Bring this down to 5%. Now we're closer. We're still not in the payment where we should be to afford, but we're in that range closer of what you would qualify for, where you shouldn't be once again because you would be over leveraged, but that's at 215. So this is the type of house you would be able to buy. It wouldn't even be a single family. So you would be priced out of all single family properties. You would not be able to buy an actual house. You would have to look at condos and townhouses. But the problem with those are they may look cheaper. Like we can get something for 210, but the HOA is like $200 a month. And that kind of eats up into our monthly costs. So if we get this townhouse for 3-bedroom, 1 bath, let's say we do 5% down, interest rate would not be 6 point, it would be 6.5. Mortgage insurance 126, property taxes are 380, and they're calculating 987, so that's way low. Let's do like 25. Yeah, it's closer to 15%. Home insurance is actually on the cheaper side, and the reason is because these townhouses and these condos, the HOAs cover like the roof and they cover stuff like that, so you have to have less of a policy because some stuff is covered by the association. Of course, and with the HOAs, you're like it would, if without the HOA it would work, you'd be like at 1,400, 1,300, but you're still there. But the point is, you would have to over leverage yourself to buy a small, not great place. You would have to get something like 150 range, which is technically an apartment. The HOA would be 340, but with the less price, it would work. But either way, it doesn't seem like it works. We're looking at houses that need to be rehabbed. We're looking at places and areas that maybe you're not comfortable with. So what options do you have if you live in a major city like this? Well, quite frankly, you don't have options. You can maybe try to buy a new build with a lower interest rate. But the reality is, if you're a single person making at least $50,000, which was the goal for my own mother, it completely removes your ability to buy a home in major cities like Phoenix. So what you're forced to do is you're forced to move. You're forced to go to different areas, different cities that maybe you're not too comfortable with, or it's forcing yourself to really stretch your budget. You're buying with like $1,800, $1,900 monthly payment, and you're super stretched out, and you're putting yourself in a bad spot where, hey, you own a house, congratulations, but if something goes wrong a month, you lose your job or you have some kind of emergency, you're setting yourself up for failure because you over leverage yourself with that monthly payment. So what needs to change? We need more affordable housing. It's a really shitty situation for most folks. I mean, you think about it, even my own mother thought $1,000 a week is definitely doable, but it's just an unfortunate reality in our society is that housing is becoming much more expensive, too expensive, if you will. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. These investors who are being consulted by the same people who are scaring you to not buy because the housing market crashed, they're buying houses, and guess where they're buying? They're buying these first-time home buyer homes. They're buying these starter homes. So do not let this discourage you, my people. What you want to do is let this encourage you, because the more time we wait, the more investors will buy up these properties, and the more chances you're going to be renting. Do what you need to do. Get yourself out of debt. Yeah, maybe you might have to get married first. That sucks. I get it. I know it's tough, but it's just the reality we're in. Maybe you have to move into a different area, seek different employment, whatever the case may be. Owning a home is no longer a solid investment, but it is something you should strive for, because there's nothing quite like having a piece of property in the United States of America that belongs to you and you only, and is not only rented by you for a year and owned by some corporation, right? So do what you can to get out of it. Let's not let this demotivate us. It's going to be a lot more difficult journey, but it's still possible to buy. What do you guys think? I'm curious to see what you guys found out in your specific area. So do you mind just piping in a comment what kind of place we can rent, what place you can afford with the numbers that we use today in your specific area, so we can get a good idea for people. And then of course, if you want to support the channel, like, subscribe. I make more videos just like this to help you guys out. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Make it a blessed day, and never forget to eat your fries and steak with tortilla burrito today. I know, so bad. Take care.